Ken Whiting with Paddle TV with yet another in-depth kayak review. And in this video, I am reviewing this sucker, the Hurricane Santee 116 Sport, which is one of Hurricane's best-selling kayaks, and it's been, newly redesigned for 2025. It's a recreational sit-inside kayak. It's designed to offer a combination of both stability and performance. The question is, have they done it? And so I'm gonna get this boat on the water and give it a good test run, but first, let me tell you a bit about it. The Santee 116 Sport retails for $1,250 US. It's 11 feet 6 inches long. It's 28 inches wide. It weighs 39 pounds or 18 kilos. It has a capacity of 300 pounds or 136 kilos. Its primary use is for flatwater paddling. The boat features bow and stern bulkheads. It has a stern hatch. It has stern bungees, a paddle holder, Hurricane's strong side seat with an adjustable back support, foam thigh pads, foot braces, and molded grab handles. It also has an extra large cockpit which accommodates their H-Spod port console, but I don't have that to test. Well, I like the looks of this kayak. It looks like it's going to travel through the water very well for a recreational kayak, which are typically not designed to travel well through the water. They're designed for stability. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to get this sucker on the water, and so that's what I'm gonna do. How cool is this? Well, what a beautiful spot to test this kayak, and a beautiful day to test this kayak. And it's also a perfect spot to test this boat because that's the type of paddling that this thing is designed for. Flat water, protected bodies of water, protected so that even if the wind picks up, the waves that can be generated aren't going to be that big. But let's start from the beginning and break down the attributes of this boat. Let's start with portability, as I usually do. It's a sub 12-foot kayak, and any kayak that's 12 feet or under is generally much easier to just deal with, whether that's transporting on your vehicle or carrying the boat around. And being 11 foot 6 inches long, this is easy to get around for one person, and it's only made easier by the fact that it's so lightweight. 39 pounds, under 40 pounds for this boat is just awesome. And that's what you get with a thermoformed kayak. That's how it's made. It's called thermoforming. Most kayaks, recreational kayaks, are made by rotomolding plastic. It's a cheaper way to make kayaks, but the result is a heavier kayak. So you save about 20% weight when you get a thermoform kayak like this. And I'll tell you what, the difference between 40 pounds and 50 pounds when you're carrying a boat around and trying to load a boat by yourself is a big deal. Top marks for portability, even the length that, as I was mentioning before, when boats get longer than 12 feet, the longer they get, the more unwieldy they become, regardless of how heavy they are. So, very portable for a hard shell kayak that isn't portable, doesn't pack down into a bag. Performance. Recreational kayaks are primarily designed to offer a stable, comfortable experience, and they do that at the sacrifice of performance. Recreational kayaks tend to be wider than any other type of kayak because a wider kayak is a more stable kayak, but a wider kayak plows more water. It doesn't travel through the water nearly as efficiently. What Hurricane tried to do with the Santee 116 was create a kayak that offered a really good balance of stability and performance. It's only 28 inches wide, and I say only because some recreational kayaks get to 36, 38 inches wide, but 28 inches still offers a very stable platform. This is definitely stable enough for anyone to hop into and just feel confident and comfortable in flat conditions. At the same time, it's narrow enough, and with the design of this thing, it's the widest point is behind me here, and then it's like an arrow right to the bow. It cuts through the water really nicely and glides very nicely. And that's also one of the benefits of thermoforming. Thermoforming creates this smooth and firm, really a stiff boat. And that offers just a better feel in the water and a better glide through the water. They've done a great job of striking a balance between performance and stability. Now let's talk comfort. It's a pretty darn comfortable boat. I mean, this extra large cockpit, you can just kick your feet over the side. You could, if you had shorter legs than I do, you could sit cross-legged in this boat. It's comfortable. It has leg pads for your legs to sit against, adjustable foot braces, a really nice and comfy seat with a back support that goes up and down as well. So you can put it up and get into lounge mode, or you can put it down and even crank it tight to support or promote an upright sitting position for when you're actually paddling. And that's a big thing that is really important. If you really want a performance boat, you really want a boat that provides back support and promotes an upright sitting position for when you're paddling, because you don't want to be kicked back and lazing out when in the lazy boy mode when you're actively paddling. So really top marks for comfort here. I am 6'2", 34-inch inseam, and the foot pegs aren't all the way forward. So I would say that someone up to 6'5", 36-inch inseam would be totally fine in this boat. Now, durability. This is one of the trade-offs with a thermoformed kayak. They aren't as durable as a rotomolded plastic boat. They're a lot lighter, they're a lot stiffer, but they're not as durable. What that means is that it doesn't mean that it's fragile. That it just means that you need to take care of it. You can't be dragging this thing to the water's edge. You can't be throwing this thing around, bang it into rocks. You just have to take a bit more care with it. There are not a lot of bells and whistles on this boat and things that can break. It's a very simple and straightforward design, and actually the beauty is in the simplicity of this boat. It's not as durable as a rotomolded plastic boat, but it's not fragile either. Now let's talk about the features, those bells and whistles. Some kayaks have tons of bells and whistles, and most of the time you're not going to use the vast majority of those. This one doesn't have a lot, but the things it has are really valuable. For example, it has 2 bulkheads. Bulkheads are walls inside the kayak that separate the kayak into different compartments. And there's a bulkhead right in front of my feet here, and there's a bulkhead right behind my seat. And what that does is it creates a front compartment, the center cockpit area, and then a rear compartment. If I flip, if I get a big wave over top and I swamp this kayak, whatever, only the center of the kayak is going to be swamped. The cockpit area is going to get filled with water. The front section is going to hold air. The back section is going to still hold air. That means this boat is going to float very well, even when it's swamped. It's going to make it so much easier to swim it to shore, tow it to shore, do on-water rescues, whatever you want to do. And that's why bulkheads are a real safety bonus in a boat. And the fact that this has 2 bulkheads is a great thing. The other thing that bulkheads create are 2 compartments that you can access for storage. This boat only has 1 hatch in the stern here so that you can access and use this for storage. It doesn't have a hatch in the front. The reason that doesn't bother me is the space up front there that you're losing is so small because this boat tapers so much. And the hatch that you'd have to have up there would be so small that it would be almost useless anyway. You're losing a little bit of space, but the extra cost and the extra weight to have a hatch, a tiny little hatch up there, I don't think it's worth it anyway. Back here, there's so much more volume. And so having the hatch in the back is a great asset. It means you have a lot of cargo space. Now, you do have enough space here to do a kayak camping trip, bring stuff, but you're not going to be bringing a lot of stuff. Because you don't have a front big storage area, it's not a ton of cargo space in this thing. You could do a minimalist kayak camping trip, but that's not what this thing is designed for. Now, the other features, there's nothing really to talk about too much there. You've got the outfitting, which I already talked about when referring to the comfort of this boat. You have some bungees on the back, great. You have a paddle holder, that's a nice little feature. The molded carry handles are a nice feature as well. Once again, the beauty of this boat is in its simplicity, and that seems to be a common theme with Hurricane Kayaks. They create clean designs that are designed to offer a great paddling experience or relaxing experience. So who is this kayak for? This is a kayak for people that just want to paddle in flat water. This kayak is not going to deal with rough water well at all, and that's in large part because it's got this huge cockpit area. Yes, you could put a skirt on this thing, but that's not really what it's designed for. Don't bother. You need to keep this boat in flat water that even if it gets windy out, you're not going to get big significant wind waves on that body of water, which means smaller lakes, ponds, rivers without, any significant waves, just calm, protected bodies of water. This is also for someone who wants a boat that is more comfortable and lightweight, and they're willing to pay a little premium for a boat that's comfortable, lightweight, and that focuses not just on stability, but performance. This is a boat for somebody who doesn't need the most durable kayak, is okay with taking care of their kayak. No, as I mentioned before, it's not fragile, but you have to take care of this thing. You can't just drag it to the water's edge or crank it down on your roof racks. Pad your roof racks instead of just putting it directly on the roof racks. Things like that. Take care of it. If you're willing to do that, then this could be a boat for you as well. This is also a boat for someone who really isn't looking for something to go kayak camping with. Hurricane has other kayaks that are much better for kayak camping, that have storage up front, more storage overall. So last but not least, let's talk about value. Is the Santee 116 good value at $1,250 US? Well, the simple answer is yes, it is very good value. And the reason I say that is when you buy a thermoformed kayak, one of the big things you're buying is a lighter weight kayak. And it's typically 15 to 20% lighter weight than the tip or the standard rotomolded plastic kayak. And that is the case with the Santee 116. It's 39 pounds. I mean, that is nice and light for a boat like this. One of the top selling rotomolded kayaks or rotomolded plastic kayaks on the market is the Old Town Loon 120. Now, it's 20% heavier than the Santee 116, and it retails for $1,200 US. So you pay $50 more for a lightweight flatwater kayak. So right there alone, you typically expect to pay about 15 to 20% more for a thermoformed kayak to get that 15 to 20% reduction in weight. In this case, you don't. So $1,250 is a really good value. Of course, it doesn't mean it's the right kayak for you. I have reviewed, though, a whole bunch of Hurricane Kayaks over the past 3 years, I think it has been. Anyway, I'll link in the description box down below to the reviews I've done of each so that, hey, maybe the Santee 116 isn't the right one for you, but you like the idea of a thermoformed lightweight kayak and like the looks of the Hurricane Kayak, so one of these other kayaks might be the right fit for you. Otherwise, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you have. Subscribe to Paddle TV if you haven't already. And stay tuned because I've got a lot more gear reviews, paddling tips, and paddling adventures coming your way.